Amazon. Hey BookTube, it's Kim at Middle of the Bookmarch, and this is going to be a chatty video today. I'm going to be really honest with you. I have thought of doing this video for a few years now and have avoided it like the plague because I did not want to get crucified. So I'm going to just start talking about it, and it's been something that I've been aware of and thinking of and reviewing in my brain for a long time. And I want to talk about Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. As far as I can tell, the majority of people on BookTube that have said it out loud hate Amazon. Amazon is a monster, it's a beast, it is the devil, it is the Antichrist, it is all of the above. And so many people have spoken out against Amazon. There are books about not buying from Amazon. There are so many people who absolutely detest Amazon for very many reasons, for their labor practices, for what they do to authors, for how they are crushing the little guy and local stores and everything that they're doing. They are taking over the world. So I have watched so many booktubers who I really love and adore their content talk about how much they hate Amazon, and I don't blame them for those opinions. I totally understand where they're coming from. Here's my beef with BookTube is it's really difficult to listen to the condemnation that a lot of people have for people who do purchase from Amazon. And I'm going to say this honestly, I buy through Amazon. Not a lot of books, but I do purchase things through Amazon. And I'm not really going to be apologetic about that. It's a choice that I make, and it's also at times kind of the only option. I don't live near a city. Boston is the closest, and it's probably an hour and a half away. I can go to Manchester or Concord, New Hampshire, but neither one of those are big cities. They're small towns, small town city, with very few bookstores. And I can go to the one independent bookstore that is within half an hour from me, but it's tiny, and I can't get much there. The books I typically buy are used or backlist books, so I quite often find them all over the place on sale. I don't have one used bookstore near me. Not one. I did, but they closed. And it wasn't because of Amazon. Maybe, many years ago when Amazon first came on the scene, we did have some local bookstores, and they did close because at the time, Amazon was only selling books. So once the advent of the internet and cheap prices came that people could order online, never had to leave their homes, a lot of local bookstores folded. So, yeah, I don't have the luxury of being in a city where I can walk down the street and find 3 or 4 bookstores and then walk down another block and find some more. Boston, I believe there's plenty of bookstores. I haven't been in the city in decades. Cities like New York or Portland or Los Angeles or, God, how many other big cities have multiple bookstores? Probably tons of them. I don't have that advantage. The only bookstore that is within half an hour is one small independent bookstore in a tiny little coastal town near me, which is a beautiful town, but there's one bookstore, and Barnes & Noble. And I hate Barnes & Noble. I absolutely hate Barnes & Noble. You walk into any Barnes & Noble and they're all the same. It's like walking into a McDonald's all over the country. You know what you're going to get. It's the same marketing, the same books are on the tables, and quite honestly, there's not a lot of marketing difference between Amazon and Barnes & Noble, because certain books are slated for certain tables as you walk right in the front door of a Barnes & Noble. And do I go there? Yes, I do. I hardly ever buy books there. If I go, I'm usually bringing a book with me and grabbing a cup of coffee and sitting it and reading, probably while waiting for my daughter in some event or whatever. But I buy a lot of things on Amazon. I hate to shop. The only thing I like to shop for is used books, quite honestly. I hate shopping for clothes. I don't like to shop. But I do use Amazon to buy other things besides just books. I buy vitamins, I buy Christmas gifts, I buy, what have I bought lately? I don't even remember. Yeah, I bought some hair products. I've bought candy. I mean, honestly, Amazon does sell everything. They pretty much are taking over the world. I have a Kindle and I buy Kindle books. I almost never buy a full price Kindle book. I only buy Kindle books for $2.99 or less. So I get a newsletter that gives me all the latest deals of the day. And if I find something that I really want to read, I'll spend $2 and buy a Kindle book. Once in a while, I listen to an Audible book. I had an Audible subscription last year, but I ended it because I thought it was a bad deal. I don't like the audiobook marketing and retailing experience. If I want to listen to an audiobook, I'm probably going to listen to it through my library app for free. I don't typically use the library for print books because I have so many of my own books that I have all the advantages and all the options in my own home. My daughter does. My daughter rents. She checks out books and she checks out movies, and I have checked out audiobooks through the library before, and it works great. It works great. But back to Amazon, I use Kindle. I read Kindle books. I use Goodreads, which is owned by Amazon, and there's so much of my reading history that is collected in Goodreads that I'm not really in the market to change that. I use Goodreads as a database for what I've read and what I thought of it as far as star rankings. That's pretty much it. But yes, I do frequent Amazon. And the ironic thing is I have found a lot of used book retailers online through Amazon, because if I'm purchasing a book on Amazon, I usually go to their used section and I look for retailers selling used copies of a book. And actually, that's how I discovered thrift books, because I saw their listings all over the Amazon sellers page. And they have their own website, so I buy many, if not a majority, of my used books through thrift books. And there are other used book sites online as well. So what am I here to say exactly? I am here to say that, yes, I do use Amazon. I don't have a deep condemnation for myself. I don't love it or hate it either way. It kind of is what it is. But the big point I want to make is there are so many other sources of booktubers who are condemning other people for using Amazon. And there should be no shame as to where a person buys their goods or buys their books or how they acquire their books. Some of us have a lot more advantages than others. I don't have a budget for the prices of brand new books. And I rarely, if ever, buy a brand new book. And if I do, it's a paperback because it's $12 cheaper than a hardcover. But that's rare for me. But I don't want to throw shade or shame anybody online because they use Amazon to buy books or to buy anything for that matter. There should be no shame on BookTube. There should be nobody feeling bad when somebody throws out, Amazon is the devil, or don't buy from Amazon, buy, go to your local bookseller. Yep, that would be awesome. A lot of us can't afford to do that. And so I really don't like the guilt. I don't like people throwing out the judgment. And I don't want anybody else to feel that either. I don't want anybody else to feel like they can't admit that they use Amazon to buy things. It shouldn't matter. It just shouldn't matter. If I was buying from a store that I absolutely loved, I would give them great reviews. I have before. I would tell everybody I know. I would tell people online, go and frequent this place. And I've done that. I've directed people towards online resources that I love, online sellers, online whatever, online stores. I do that all the time. And I also buy from Amazon. I buy a book here and there from Amazon. And I'm just going to admit that. I'm just going to admit that. I would prefer to buy everything from a local person, but I just don't have that advantage. And I also don't want to hear the comments online, and I don't want to feel guilty. I don't want to feel like I can't admit I bought this online from Amazon. I don't want to feel bad when I start showing you the books that are on my Kindle, because that's another video coming up. There should be no shame in just sharing our love of reading. It shouldn't matter where we acquire our stuff. And it's a catch-22 because, yeah, there's some really depraved, evil, humiliating, greedy business practices out there. But can't we say that about everything in corporate America? Can't we say that about every company? I think we can. So if we're going to condemn people for buying from Amazon, then we have to condemn people from buying groceries at a chain grocery store, or from buying a car of pick a brand name. There are no innocent corporations out there, so we condemn one, we have to condemn them all. So those are my thoughts on my feelings and my attitudes towards the shame directed at people who buy from Amazon, which should not exist. It shouldn't exist. So if you buy books on Amazon, if you buy Kindle books, audiobooks, whatever it is you buy, go ahead. You're never going to hear from me. Go to your local bookstore. Buy from your local bookstore if at all possible. That's great. I'm not ever going to say that because it doesn't matter to me where you get your books or your goods or anything. Do what you have to do. I'm going to do what I do, and we're going to survive. The world will go on. It will go on. So that's all I have to say. You can come after me if you want. It's okay. It's okay. And you can argue with me. That's okay too. I'm not really gonna get into any heated arguments in the comments, but I totally understand if somebody has opinions different than mine, or if somebody agrees with me. That's all okay. That's why we're here, right? So that's it for me for today, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.